Howdy fellow model railroaders, my name is Kevin Brown and I want to thank you for checking out my YouTube channel. In this episode I've got quite a lot of stuff to cover. First and foremost, I went down to Urbana, Illinois to a train show at the Lincoln Square Mall. We set up our modules and there were quite a few layouts, so I took some footage from that and I hope you'll enjoy watching that. In addition, I went ahead and finally finished up the touch-up, etc. on the last chance gas module. So there's the finishing touches on that. And I also got a chance to start on the only structure that's going to be on this corner module, which I'm calling the Observatory Hill. And that is an observatory. And I'm going to use a prototype here in town as a basis. But so I got a chance to get a start on all that. So yeah, that's quite a lot of stuff going on. Now, a couple things of note passing. First off, this marks, April 1st marks 4 years I've been on YouTube, which just amazes me that it's been that long. It has been a fun ride, and I'm glad a lot of you have stuck it out with me. I've really enjoyed sharing what I do as far as modeling, plus going to shows and stuff, and I hope you guys enjoy it too. Now, another passing of note, and this is more personal. You've probably seen me in this down here in the basement because it's always chilly down here. This is the last of the old Mitsubishi shirts I had from working at Mitsubishi Motors North America. I've been out of there 6 years. They closed down that long ago. And I think my wife was noticing it was getting pretty darn rotty. There's almost nothing left of it. So I think she was tired of looking at it. And she came up with the idea to get me a new smock and also have it custom embroidered. So yeah, I'm going to go change clothes here and show you the new shirt. So here's the new shirt. It's in much better shape, obviously. It's nice and comfy and oversized. And it's been embroidered with, obviously, the Brownsville Terminal Railroad on this side. And my name and Train Master on that side. I want to thank Shelly Rodriguez, who runs Star-Crossed Embroidery, literally just down the street, and she's also now a subscriber. She did the work on this, and I really am pleased with it. So, yeah, out with the old and with the new. So I guess the next step in the video is some pictures and shots from the Urbana train show. I hope you enjoy it.
This guy had used also spare parts about the phone, and his navigation is recalculating, so
Cole.
Here's a bigger train. See him up here? You can't see him. Here's a bigger train. And it could be. You like this little carrying?
Here it comes. Here it goes.
There's no central. Look at that nice thing. Nice. There's some more ones.
That's pretty neat, isn't it? Mike made that from a old hospital bed.
What'd you say? Oh.
And I what?
Didn't you used to display it at this show?
Not display, the show.
Or sold stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, it's been sold for about 18 years before I was
Because I remember your name on the exhibitors list. I had the service thing.
Bob Guts, yeah. Your name is?
Oh, Bruce Stickers. Stickers. STIK.
It was a fun show at Urbana. Unfortunately, there was only one N-scale dealer. I picked up these two cars, Chicago and Eastern Illinois. That's the down payment, I guess, on the 16 or so cars I need to put the transfer job in. Now, something else, I can't call this a new purchase at all. I dug around in my box of oldies, and this is a diesel service facilities kit. I have had every bit of for 30 years. It was for 2 layouts ago, but I think it'll work very well on the yard seam. So I'm glad I found that. That's on the list of stuff to do now. And I also picked up. It's got some terrible glare on it. I picked up a new controller for Digitrax. That gives me a total of 3, which is, I think that's all the cabs I'll need. And I picked up this Kato engine house. It's not exactly what I wanted. I'm probably going to do a little Americanization of it, but it should be the right spacing and height for Kato Unitrack. So that's a future project, but in any case, that'll pretty much complete that scene. As the last time, I hadn't quite finished the Last Chance gas module. It's now all touched up and does a nice job of completing the scene here on this end of Thomasboro. I couldn't be happier. I know it would have been nicer if I could see a lot more of the front details, but I like the way you can tell exactly what these things are from a distance, and I think it really does set the mood for this scene. So that's a module done. Time to update the progress sheet. Here's my progress sheet, all updated. It's nice to get a project done. Last Chance Gas, that's a nice little module. And it does show here that white line on Observatory Hill. I got a lot of work to do on that. That's going to be the next major project, and the first part of that is to scratch build that observatory. Here's an old mock-up I made of the observatory some time ago. It's been sitting on my layout on the corner module for quite a while. This, as you can see, is pretty primitive. I had made some initial estimates. I just paced out how big the building was, and I came to the conclusion that a poker chip was about the right diameter for the dome, and just so happens that happens to be about the size of a ping pong ball. So I thought, yeah, this is where I need to start. But I'm thinking it's time for a field trip, and we'll take some pictures of what I'm trying to model and see where we can go from there. Here's a nice shot of the Mark Evans Observatory on Illinois Wesleyan's campus. I thought it would make a good prototype for what I'm trying to model. As you can see, it's essentially a two-story structure, square, with the dome on top, and that would solve a few problems as far as for my layout. And I've got some history. I remember visiting this observatory as a young lad when they had open houses, and it was very impressive then, and I thought, yeah, this will make a good thing to model. So let's see if we can get some better pictures. Here's the entrance, which is kind of hidden on the back side of the structure, and the only windows are along these four central areas enclosed with the bricks. Windows on top. I believe there's a door on the other side, probably an emergency door, but this is one of the two entrances. Just to show that it is more or less in the time period I'm trying to model. This was put together in 1969, and if memory serves, it was the Apollo 8 astronauts that were here for the groundbreaking. So that's pretty cool. Here's a nice view from across the way on a landing so that I can see the top of the structure. It shows the detail of the brick of the building and how it doesn't go quite all the way up to the top. It also shows the semi-spherical dome and the skirt down below it and how the dome is constructed. It seems to me the next step is to build a second mock-up, something that I can a little closer to what it's eventually going to look like. This time when I went to the Mark Evans Observatory, I actually remembered to bring a tape measure, and I took some exact measurements, and lo and behold, I was only off by 4 inches as far as my estimate for how big the square building was. So I'm pretty proud about that. So I went ahead and took some more exact measurements and came up with some basic numbers, converting it to N-scale 1 to 160. And I thought for this mock-up, I would go ahead and use one of my favorite materials, and it's certainly cheap, and that's cereal box cardboard. It's very easy to work with, particularly if you got one of these things. And I was able to put together something fairly quickly, and I really like the way it's turned out. So here is that mock-up. Now I was able to put, let's get a little closer, the brickwork for the, I don't know what you call them, the columns on each of the faces, and I went ahead and used some wooden blocks as glue blocks to put it all together. So yeah, I think that is a much better representation of what I'm going to need, and it also shows that I'm going to have to put brick on the back of this because it's going to show, and all in all pretty useful. Now came the interesting part of cutting a ping pong ball in half and trying to build the dome. Now, I was hoping against hope that I would be able to just do this once. So I'm hoping that this mock-up's dome will work. And so here is that dome. I'm glad I cut this thing off of camera because I would have lost my PG rating. All I did was clamp my Dremel with a cutting tool down on the work surface and cut my way around the darn thing. I remember ping pong balls having a seam, but this one really didn't. And so that was the basis of this. Now I searched around a bit. Ping pong balls are 4 centimeters across, who knew? And I was looking for just a bottle top because it had that sort of corrugated surface on it, and I found one that worked. It actually is exactly 4 centimeters. So that worked pretty good. And for this part, which I believe is referred to as the shutter, I went ahead and just used the same plastic that comes off those cheap signs. It's fairly flexible. I went ahead and scribed some lines in it. The mechanism for this, they split apart in the middle so that the telescope can peek out. And that all glued on pretty well. I pre-bent it pretty close and super glued it and taped it. And by golly, it worked out pretty well. So more or less, this is my mock-up. And the next step is going to be build a thing in plastic for real. I'm quite pleased with the progress I've made since the last video. I'm very much looking forward to completing the scratch-built observatory structure. I've only really played around with scratch building a little bit. This will be the first scratch-built structure I put on my layout, certainly. So that'll be an interesting challenge, and that's going to be the next bit. Once I get that done, I can go ahead and finish the scenery on that corner module, which is where it's going to go, and I will have a pretty long segment of my layout with at least basic scenery on it. So I'm very much looking forward to getting that done. Let's see, this is the part of the video where I usually talk about what my group is up to, the N scale of Bloomington Normal. Now we actually have a train show coming up next weekend, April 23rd to 24th. This is the Decatur Train Show in Decatur, Illinois. It'll be at the Decatur Civic Center. 2-day show, and we always have a good time there. This is the first time that it has been back since the craziness started. So we'll see how many dealers are going to be showing up and things like that. On the bright side, we are teaming up with another group, the Mississippi Valley N-Scalers. They're going to be bringing a lot of modules and several other people as well. So we are actually going to have a very large T-track layout, and I hope to get some footage of that, and should be fun, a fun weekend. After that, it's the Galesburg Railroad Days and the toy and train show that's associated with that. That's June 25th and 26th in Galesburg, Illinois. That's we've already been to that once since the pandemic, and it was really nice last time. You could tell that they had some space for other vendors, so hopefully that'll be filled out a little bit, and that should be a good time too. So I got that stuff to look forward to. Well, that's pretty much all I've got for this video. As always, if you like what you saw, please hit like and subscribe, and thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you next time.